Welcome back to Thoughts from the Couch podcast, where we bridge the gap between mental health and business for female entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Justine Carino, licensed psychotherapist, and I'm here to help you understand your patterns, overcome burnout, and create a life and business that actually feels as good as it looks on the outside. If you're a high-achieving woman who's used to holding it all together, but underneath the surface you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or stuck in perfectionism, you're in the right place. In today's episode, it's a really important one because we're talking about something so many driven women struggle with: the pressure to do everything themselves and the hidden cost of that. I'm joined by Kelly Lorenzen, author, business owner, and founder of a fractional integrator team that helps entrepreneurs take projects off their plates and create real momentum without burnout. In this conversation, we're getting into the mindset shifts and practical strategies that help you move from overfunctioning and control to sustainable growth and support. So let's get into it. Hi, Kelly. So nice to have you on my show, especially since we were just able to connect recently in Arizona at the No Women Summit. Can you tell my audience a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Thanks for having me. I love seeing you in real life, right?
Yes, always.
So much of the time we're on Zoom together because, you and I both have clients across the country. So it's so nice when we get to actually hug each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And see each other in person.
I know. I know. Well, I'm Kelly Lorenzen. I own KLM. It's a full service business development firm, integrator. You already heard the spiel. But my background, I've been a business owner 24 years. We've had medical practices and real estate companies and electrical companies. And in all those businesses, what we couldn't find is somebody who thought like a business owner, but could actually take on some of the stuff and do it like we would do it, right? So the marketing, the projects that kept coming. And so because I couldn't find it, I decided to build it myself.
I love that so much. So, can you tell us a little bit about how your business kind of runs? And then we're going to get into some juicy questions for the audience.
Yeah. So I had a couple burnout seasons, like you said in the intro. All of us do, I think, at some point in our life. And my goal is to make sure small and family businesses exist when our kids and grandkids, have that option. So because most small businesses don't make it past year 5. And I want to change that statistic. So we come in as a whole full team and say, what projects do you have? What marketing things do you have that we can take off your plate, do it like you would do it, and actually implement it for you so that you can stop worrying about that and you can be the visionary and the CEO and grow your business.
I love this so much. And there's so many women I work with that are my coaching clients, not specifically therapy clients, but coaching clients that I'm coaching on like anxiety and perfectionism and burnout, who run their own businesses. And a lot of them are very stubborn. And I give them homework, like, tell me all the tasks you're doing, because you're telling me you're working so much. And you also have a family at home. Like, take 2 weeks and I want you to literally document every task and who's doing the tasks. Times as a solopreneur, they're doing all of it and then they don't want to delegate or invest in delegating,
I know.
which is a real struggle. And I understand that because some women feel like I do it the best and I don't want to invest my money. But then I say, let's do some math. Let's like do the return on this investment, but also like think of the time you get back when you have help.
I know. I think it's a couple things, right? One is all of us who are founders are type A personalities. And you know that more than anybody with your coaching clients and your therapy clients, I'm sure. But also most of us build it from the ground up and it's our baby, right? So we have a hard time giving it away. It feels like we're giving away our baby when we need to outsource or we need to delegate. That's what I've found, at least, is the need for control, or it's like our baby and we know how to do it best and we care the most and everything. So I try to tell them, like, instead of saying give it away, think of you're giving somebody else an opportunity, a job, a way to earn an income. So that's the give. The it can be whatever you don't like. Like, stop doing, you built this business to do what you want to do, right? Not to do all the tasks. So it can be whatever you hate or whatever you're not good at. Like, just give all that. And then it doesn't have to go far away, right? You can still oversee it, if you need to, but you don't have to physically do every single task.
Yes. Since it sounds like you've built and run multiple businesses over your career, how has delegation, as we're talking about, helped grow and scale your businesses? What have you seen happen?
Oh my gosh. The first couple businesses, I was like all your clients, right? I was like, oh no, I'm good. I can do it myself. I'm the best at it, all the things. I would hire people, but I just kept taking it back, because I didn't have the systems in place. I didn't have the SOPs written down of how I wanted it. I didn't have the training in place. So now, right, I teach clients and we did the same. In 2020, I hired my first team member for this business, and we grew 200% that year. I mean, just people think that they're going to give it away and they don't have the money and they can't afford it. But really, if you give it away, you can now think about the bigger picture and go after bigger things, different things. You have the mind capacity to think of new ideas and be creative.
Yes, I love that. So you took the risk of having someone help, but you saw the growth in
Yeah,
that, which is
immediately.
huge. And a lot of people are afraid of like the what if. So let's talk a little bit about that fear. So many of my listeners struggle with this belief that if I don't do it myself, it won't be done right. And a lot of my listeners are also moms, and this also applies to like home life, right? Like I'm going to do it all at home. My partner can't handle it. From your experience building these companies and now helping others outsource, what do you think is underneath that fear? And how can business owners start to loosen that grip without like compromising quality of what they're trying to put out there? What's that fear about?
I think it's that goes back to that thinking it's their baby. I think it's just like when you're, I got to get a nanny. No, it's okay. I don't need a nanny. I don't need to take a day off or a vacation or something. I can do it better, or they feel guilty or something.
Yeah.
And, just like in motherhood, you feel like, oh no, if I'm not doing it, then it's not going to get done right. And, oh, I can handle it. It's fine. I can handle it. But you're going to burn yourself out. I mean, I've burnt it out twice. Luckily, in the third time, I didn't have to burn out and didn't feel guilty and didn't have all of that. And I was going through breast cancer and I was able to delegate all my tasks for 2 weeks completely. No email, no phone, no nothing while I went through surgery. And we still grew 25% that year.
Wow, that's incredible.
So I always like, I promise you, I've gone through it myself and you shouldn't feel guilty. And there shouldn't, like we do, we're always going to be fearful, but the more you can put systems in place and write everything down and teach and train how you want it done, it can be done, right?
Absolutely. And I'm also thinking of people listening, they're like, okay, well, I am the service provider, right? Like for me, I am the therapist. So like my clients need me in front of them to do the service, right? But over time, I realized like I can like have many of me, like there's like, yes, I'll keep my clients, but I'm sure there's plenty of other therapists that are similar to me that do great work. Let me take on another therapist, right? And so I did that first, like, okay, like I trust this friend. We used to work together. Now she's a therapist in my practice. And then that worked. And I said, okay, well, maybe I can have another therapist, right? So now I have 3 therapists and like a wellness coordinator. So for me, it was control. Like, I don't want to ruin my reputation. People are coming to see me. And then luckily I had a wait list, right? And I said, I think it's time to like see if there's other people that can do what I'm doing, right? And they're all unique therapists and they have their own way of doing therapy, but we also like the same outcomes when working with families and teens, and I trust them, right? So I duplicated myself eventually. But even if you are just the only service provider in your company, I'm sure there's still other tasks that you're doing outside of that one-to-one FaceTime that takes up your time, that if you delegate it to someone else, you have an extra hour with the client. What do you think, Kelly?
Yeah, 100%. I tell people bookkeeper is first, right? Always get rid of, do not be doing your own books. People are like, oh, no, no, it's fine. No, there's so many people that do it for so inexpensively that you need to get rid of that first. And
Mm-hmm.
then marketing, content creation, email, all the setup in the back end, your systems, follow up and follow through, even some business development stuff. I mean, there's so many tasks. So I walk people through what I call a KODA method, kind of like write down every single task you do in a day, a week, a month. And then next to each, either a K, an O, a D, or an A. So K is for keep. It's the only thing that's like the face to face, the only thing that you have to 100% keep. And then find people smarter than you for everything else, right? I have surrounded myself, my team is way smarter than me in a lot of the other things. And then the O is for outsource. So you can outsource some of those things, right, to other teams that are really experts in those things. The D, delegate to your team members. Hey, I know if they're not going to do it at 100% exactly like you, but 80% is better than nothing, right? So give that, and then automate with the AI tools. There's so many cool things we're doing for automation for people to shrink their time. So it's possible to get rid of stuff because I promise you, you're like, I don't do that many things. I just see patients and do my email. No, you don't. I promise you do more than that.
Absolutely. And I remember when I had my first, it was just me and a virtual assistant. And even that was scary, but after doing that, I was like, I can never go backwards and not have somebody helping with these tasks, even though it's just me. I'm also thinking of, like, of course, I have to bridge psychology with business always, the roles we played, like in our family of origin or friend groups socially growing up, we often replay in how we run a business. And I think there's a lot of women that were probably the firstborn daughters of a few siblings that like to do it all, or were always in control, that type A personality, or maybe like they were the parentified child and had more responsibility put on them than they were ready because a parent wasn't capable, or maybe there's mental illness or substance use or divorce, like who knows? So I think subconsciously we kind of get programmed at times to be like, well, I've always done it all and I'm always the responsible one, that on a subconscious level, we're afraid to step out of that role. And that shows up when we run a business. Like, you're still the parentified child now of your business. And that's why I like getting at the psychology of, like, you're used to doing this. So let's go back in time. How did you get this way? How did that serve you? And now it's not serving you the way it did to survive in that family system. Now you have a business to run, and maybe even your own family you've created now. We got to let some things go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love how I talk about, the old traumas, right? The triggers and all the old stuff that comes up. So I love that you correlate business with how you grew up. I have been thinking about a story that my mom told me about me as a kindergartner lining everybody up on the other side of the teeter-totter and giving them rides because that was fun for them. It's like my type A was even back then like, here, I'll give you guys rides. Then I got all the rides because I was giving
Yes,
you rides.
absolutely. I love that. And I'm also thinking of, like, I have a lot of clients that have this brilliant, like, ADHD mind where they can hyper focus on things they're interested in and have also really creative ideas, but it's the execution. And then they're burning out because they're like, I have these great ideas, but like, I have no idea how to execute them. I almost need like the prefrontal cortex to be a human being in my life to
Yeah.
even pull out these ideas and give me a project management plan. Do you see that as well in your work?
My gosh, we do that a lot. That's most of our first, we call it our launch meetings or our brain dump sessions, is that, right? Is getting everything out of your head. One of my clients called me her balloon holder. Another one, oh, are you my business counselor? They all call me all something different, right? But it's because I can reach in their brain. Come on, give me all the stuff that's in there. And then I'm really certified in project management. I know exactly the steps to take to get you to where you want to go. And then I'm very good at follow through and execution. And then I've, trained my team and actually found people smarter than me for those things, right? to execute on all of their ideas. So it's really fun to get to do that for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's such a good match, like the ADHD brain with the perfectionist type A brain. Like, what a pair to have, like a force to reckon with there. I love that. I love that. So, I think a lot of high achieving women I work with look successful on paper, and they are, but they're quietly overwhelmed and really stretched thin.
Yeah.
At what point does being so hands-on stop being a strength for them? Start to kind of bottleneck the business.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's when everything has to run through you, when every single decision and task has to run through you, you're the bottleneck and then you can't grow. You can't scale. You're going to grow microly, right? But you take like I say, every business owner wants to take the stairs and the struggle bus wants to take, oh my gosh, they're going to finally get to maybe be the CEO. Take the elevator, like hurry up and outsource it, hurry up and delegate it. So you get to be the actual CEO of your business and stop being the bottleneck. A CEO is never going to look at every single task. If you look at a big company, right? Fortunately, I've only owned businesses, so I didn't have to work for a corporate, but most of my clients come from corporate. So they tell me like the CEO is not answering every call, answering every email, doing every single task. We need to build our businesses like those big companies and think about what a CEO, and so you have to be, it's too exhausting. You're going to be the ceiling and it's too exhausting to be the bottleneck. So you
Absolutely.
have to let go and stop carrying everything.
Absolutely. And that will slow down the growth because it takes up time
100%.
to go
100%.
through every single decision and approval. Like
You
we need
can't.
things to run themselves.
Yeah, you can't. It will stall growth, and I've seen it. People come to me when they're ridiculously overwhelmed, and they're like, "My business is failing. I might as well just quit. No, I'm done." And I'm like, "No, no, no. We can do this, And we give them we figure out the org chart, do a structure, plan it out. Here we go. Okay, we're gonna do this first. We're gonna hire you somebody. Then we're gonna put systems in place. We're gonna train them. We're gonna have SOPs. We're gonna like." And so we walk them, and obviously we do all of it, but we walk them through it. And then they're like, you can just feel the like relief in their bodies. And then they can take an actual day off or a vacation. Like some of my clients haven't taken a vacation. They're sleeping like 2 hours to 5 hours a night. Like that is not, when they come to us, right? And then we're
Yes.
like, okay. So I love when they say, I got to go for 24 hours and not answer my phone or my email. I'm like, oh, thank goodness.
Thank God. As you know, I'm pregnant right now, and this is my maternity leave is coming up in June, and I feel great of like checking out with my therapist and my team because I'm like, I got it. Like I don't have to worry about these things. Like it's such a good feeling to know like, oh, the practice is still gonna run without me. Like my therapists are still gonna see clients and come in the
Cool.
office and do what they gotta do. Of course, like I have my own anxiety of like, will my clients still be there when I come back, right? I love working with my clients, but I know a big part of my business now is this group. And it's really nice to be able to step away and like have my people still doing their things, which is such a
Right.
relief, which I didn't have that in my last maternity leave. There's so much stress and pressure around that. I remember like checking emails and trying to create content while like taking the baby on a walk. I couldn't be
Oh,
present.
that's terrible.
I know, I couldn't be present.
Oh,
So, Kelly, one of the biggest concerns that I often hear is if I outsource, things will fall through the cracks, right? Like I can't really trust somebody. Um, what are some of the key systems or structures that allow someone to delegate effectively without constantly checking, fixing, or redoing work? Because I even can see myself do that sometimes too, of like, well, I want to redo this or give a little bit of approval on that when it comes to like content creation. What are your thoughts on that?
We most of the time, clients, when they first come to us, they want to approve and check every single thing. But after about 2 weeks or so, sometimes 3 weeks, depending on how much, tight hold they have on it, right? They see that we have that's why we call ourselves duplicates, right? Duplicate myself. They see we have duplicated exactly how they have done it and how they want it done. And I don't even think we send them stuff and yeah, great. Yeah, great. I don't think they read it. I don't think they look at it. I don't think they never even say anything because they see that it can be because we have such a good system and structure. And it's the same thing if you have an internal team. If you have the right SOPs in place and you've trained them and you have a good structure and you hire correctly, right? That's the other thing is you have to hire correctly. Sometimes it's the wrong person in the wrong seat on the bus, and sometimes it's just the wrong person. And you got to be able to see that quickly, gone next, and don't waste so much money and time on somebody who in your gut and that's just not going to work out, right?
Yes. Oh my goodness. This is a good point, Kelly. So, what makes, I think, your service unique is duplicate. We are going to be you as best we can. That itself sounds like a relief that that you and your team take the time to really get inside the brain of the business owner.
Yeah.
Oh, what a relief. That's huge. And you're right. Sometimes we take risks and hire and it's not the best fit. And then when we find the right hire, it's like, oh my goodness, this was so helpful. What was I waiting for? And again, back to psychology, if you're a people pleaser, right, you're going to have a harder time hiring someone, realizing it's not the best fit, and then eventually letting them go. That's because it becomes personal and people feel like, well, I've been working with this person for so long and we do have a system that's working, but I know it could be better, but I don't want to hurt their feelings, right? And I'm like, well, is it about feelings or is it about your company or your business? So that's a good point. Sometimes it's trial and error to find the right team.
100%. We wasted so much money on outsourcing stuff in the past that I know. I mean, in my first business, I was the firer, and when my partner bought me out, I had burnt out, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Buy me out. I got to get out of here. She called me a few months later. She's like, "Can you fire our assistant?" I was like, "No, you have to do it. Like, I'm not in the business anymore." It's okay. And I coached her through how to fire the person. But
It's
you
amazing.
maintain, the business relationship, and treat people with respect, but understand that there are people that are just not the right fit and you have to move on. We would spend 10,000 a month at least on advertising in our medical practice. And then I kept taking it back because they weren't doing it right. They couldn't prove the number. And I'm like, okay, nope, I'm going to train myself on how exactly it should be done and what to do and what to look out for. And now I'm real protective of my clients because they'll come to me and they're like, I just spent, $12,000 on a website and it looks like this. And I'm like, oh, anyways, I try to, put that out there that you have to keep running through people until you find a good match for yourself. Don't be afraid to, no, nope, that doesn't work out. And then on the other flip side, if you find somebody that's really good, keep them, like hold on to them real tight. I have a teammate that she's like, I got to get a full-time job. I'm like, done. I'll figure out how to pay for it. No, you gotta, because I loved her so she's still with
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, I got to keep you. I got to figure out how to make this work. That's
Yeah.
so true because that's so valuable when they're good and effective. Yeah, no, it's helpful to hear you say them. I think some people also say like, I don't want to have to like retrain someone. That's gonna take time. But if you invest in retraining with the right person, you that will have payoff later.
Also, though, if you train the first one and you record videos while you're training them, You have a whole video library of SOPs that when you hire the new person, you can say, the first week, you're just going to watch all these videos and then
Yeah.
ask me for questions. So because they can watch it, they can have the, if you want, you can put it in writing if they want to read it. It's good just to record everything. And then you don't have to keep training on the same thing over and over
Yep.
again.
You have a library. So
Yeah.
smart. You're like the queen of systems.
Yes. I've had to become that.
System queen. So you just released a book called Do What You Love and Outsource Everything Else. I love that title. And you challenge that. There it is. I love it. And I love the cover too. It's perfect. You challenge the idea that we have to do it all to build something meaningful, right? This is what we're talking about. What do you think a sustainable, fulfilling version of success can look like for female entrepreneurs? And perhaps what do they need to unlearn to get there? Like, how are we measuring success? What were old conditionings about success? And how do we build something meaningful without having to do it all?
Yeah. I think, well, a lot of it in the book talks about the burnout seasons I had and the guilt and the fear and the control and all the things we've talked about the whole episode. And I say, if you want to show up fully for your business, your family, your partner, your, community, then you have to have some sort of balance. And to me, that success is having the balance between, and some people say there's no such thing as balance. And if you're real careful and you can manage what you're doing in each of these categories, I think you can have balance. I think you can have, and there's going to be seasons of it, right? When you first start a business and you're all hands on deck, all in, all the time, 24/7, you feel like, oh my God. But that's okay because it's just a season. Hurry up, hire your team, hire everybody, out and pick the thing that you really love doing or that you have to do. Like you have to be the attorney, you have to be the doctor, you have to be the whatever until like you were so smart to then, oh, wait, I don't actually have to see patients. I can start to hire all these people to do all the things for you. I think so anyways, the whole book is just challenging like, keep outsourcing, keep delegating, keep giving it away, keep giving it away to the point where you are just like, oh my gosh, I have all this time to create and be successful in not monetarily. I think to me, success is, am I doing what I love? Do I have do I have a good relationship with my kids? How is my relationship with my spouse? Do I have time for myself? Do I have my self-care? Like, am I balanced? And that's success to me.
Kelly, I agree with you. And I'm so happy you just said that because now you're motivating me to put this out there in the world. I believe women can feel balanced. And there's a trend right now of people saying balance doesn't exist. I'm like, well, how come I feel like I'm balanced? I think I figured it out, and I know other women that feel balanced. Now, that being said, if we define balance as like a pizza pie and every slice is perfectly cut, then no, we can't have that. But I think we can define balance based on what we value and putting boundaries around that and
Yeah.
systems, Kelly. Like if I value my one-to-one FaceTime with my clients and most of my time that week is spent doing that, and I've delegated other things to my people that work with me, and I'm getting home in time for dinner and I have my weekends with my family, I personally feel really balanced. And there are some times where there's not, right? Like I just saw you in Arizona and I was gone for 3 nights. But that also felt really good because I like needed to nurture that part of myself. So I felt balanced. What do you think?
Yeah. Keep cringing every time I hear people go, there's no such thing. And I think even somebody had to know someone, I can't remember who it was, but I won't call names anyways. But no, I think there are seasons where you're going to feel like I am out of control. I'm overwhelmed. There's no way I can be balanced. I mean, I've had those seasons, right? Maybe my baby's in the NICU for 2 weeks and, you're trying to run a
Of
business. And
course.
like, I mean, there's going to be seasons of unbalanced.
Yes.
But the quicker you can get back to, like, you have somebody clean your house, right? Like, why are you doing that? They're like, somebody can do it way faster than me. I have a team comes in, it's an hour, they're done. Can you imagine how long it would take me to do? No.
Right.
Get rid of everything you don't have to do and you don't love. I mean, I like going on dates with my husband, and I have the greatest relationship with my kids now. I
And you
feel
run a business.
several.
Yeah, several, right.
We have an electrical company, but we still find time because we are really good at time blocking. I'm really color coding and everything in my calendar of like, do I have enough personal time on both ends of the day? Do I have my exercise? Do I have my weekend? 24 hours. Every business owner needs 24 hours. Do not check your email. Do not, like, take that break. But I mean, I went through, breast cancer, and which kind of goes, says to you, like, you have to make sure your life is in check. And it was like, I had you have a major life crisis like that. Everybody goes, re-questions everything. And I was in the perfect place.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long ago was your breast cancer journey?
Almost 3 years ago.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to get my biopsy right after the summit 3 years ago, and then had lots of surgeries and everything, but I had the mindset. I had everything in place. I had the team in place. I had everything dialed in because I had burnt out other times before, and I was like, "I'm not doing that again."
Yeah, yes. And what a journey you were on. And I'm sure that flipped your world upside down for a little bit. And there wasn't a balance because there was a crisis in front of you.
Exactly.
But you had learned from experience of like how to get back. What's the anchors? How do you get back to where you need to be?
Yeah.
My goodness. But yeah, I'm glad you bring up this balance. In my coaching program is called the Balance Boss. And then I felt really insecure because I kept seeing people say, there's no balance. I'm like, uh-oh, do I change the name? I'm like,
No.
hell no. Grow a pair of balls and start talking about like, you can create balance. And if you
Yeah.
haven't figured out, let people like us help you because
Correct.
we know it can exist. I don't want you to think it can exist.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been talking to a lot of women lately who are feeling that insecurity of things and unbalancedness, and I think it's like, get rid of the guilt and get rid of the, what other people are thinking. Like, whatever feels good in in yourself, and you're doing everything to help people. And I think that's what we need to stick with.
Absolutely. So, Kelly, if there's someone listening that's like, all right, I'm convinced I don't delegate anything, you mentioned the first thing would probably be bookkeeping. And what do you mean by that exactly? Someone to look at their numbers? Is this an accountant? What do you mean by it?
So there's bookkeepers who can, take everything you spend in your business and make sure it's in the right categories. And then they can give your monthly books to an accountant. So that person's, I mean, $250 a month. It's like hardly any money to have a bookkeeper. Then you need to hire an accountant because there's no reason for you to be doing your own taxes. When you own a business, there's so many things you can write off and so many things you can do with your money. And business owners just don't know that. And so you'll save money by hiring a bookkeeper and an accountant to make sure you're writing off as much as you can. Those are the first two. And then I mean, most of the time, business owners don't get into business to do the marketing. Get rid of the marketing. Like, there's no reason to be doing that. Any sort of, they're like, I just spent 7 hours on one blog post. I'm like, or I mean, whatever, even 3 hours, it's like, stop doing that. People are
Yes.
so much faster and more efficient like us. There's just no reason.
Absolutely. So first your books, then your marketing. And there are people who are, like you said, experts in blog writing, copywriting, web marketing. Like my marketing guy, like he's talking about things that like my brain would never understand. I'm like, okay, great. Do what you gotta do.
Exactly. That's why we do so much marketing things for clients, because they just don't understand it. And I've hired the experts for the SEO and AIO and all the fun things that's going on right now. We keep up with all the AI tools and everything so we can put them in place for clients, because it's just such a time suck.
Yes.
And most people don't want to brag about themselves. right? Like it feels uncomfortable, but we love bragging about clients. So it's easy for us to do people's marketing because, we're like, you are so good at this. Like one of my clients had 7, letters behind his name and he wasn't using any of them on his LinkedIn. And I'm like, what? You got all those degrees and all those certifications and all that stuff, and you have none of it behind. Like, put that up there.
Yes, it's uncomfortable for people.
So then I just did it for him.
I love it. Yes, you get to do it. And my last question for you is you mentioned some AI tools. What are some of your favorites? What are you finding helpful for business owners to kind of use AI to systematize things?
Well, Claude is the new kid on the block, but if you have the highest version of chat, and you can build agent projects for each type of thing in your business, it can do a lot for you. Claude is either one, like whichever. I tell clients, whichever one your brain likes and can figure out quicker, then that's what you should use. Perplexity is really good for research and for medical, because we have a lot of our clients are in the health and wellness space. So we've got to fact check and verify stuff. And so Perplexity is better at the research kind of things.
Yeah.
So it depends on each, right, on what you're trying to accomplish. There are so many tools. One of our tools has 60 LLMs, 60 AI tools inside of one. So there's just so many. It's like
Wow.
I can go on all day about the AI tools.
And I'm starting to learn more and integrate into my practice. And like one thing I thought of today, and maybe it's possible, is when I am driving into work, I want to know who's on my schedule for the day, and I have an online medical record. I would love AI to talk to me, like, today your first client is this person, and the second client, like, oh, like a little chat with myself on the way to work just to get my head in the place. I'm like, I'm sure that's gonna exist or come about.
100%.
Wait,
Yeah, you could just build an agent, and probably Claude Cowork, I assume, would be the best for that. But build an agent that you say every morning at 8 o'clock, I want you to email me, my clients. And then you say, hey, read this to me out loud.
right? Just read it while I'm driving. Read it to me. So cool, Kelly. Thank you so much for coming on my show. How can listeners connect with you and contact you?
Our website is duplicatemyselfklm.com, or I'm on LinkedIn, Kelly Lorenzen, Lorenzen in Arizona. And those are the two best ways.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kelly. So good to see you and talk with you.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Kelly.